Hey everyone, good Shabbos. Here we have Matal, and now soon you will see me, I hope. Yikes, what's going on here? Yeah, there we go. Good Shabbos, everyone. Good before Shabbos. As you can tell, there's a little glitch here, but now we're well on our road to connecting again after what was a very, very long week and a short week. It went very quick. Somebody once told me the week is long and short at the same time. But here we are together, getting ready to introduce and to welcome just yet another Shabbos. But before we begin with Shabbos, I would like to take a moment. Today is a very important day in the history of America. And for all of us who have, if you're on YouTube, you definitely remember 9/11 and the day that we were struck for the first time in many years, and the day that lost so many souls to the act of terrorism. We in a local community know, in our Jewish community, we mourn the loss of Joshua Reese on this day, and may all the teaching and the learning and inspiration and good deeds that come from today's conversation and song be in his merit as his soul eternally continues to exist. And I'm sure the connection with him and his parents, Judy and Gary, remains strong and continues to grow. So may this all be a aliyah for his neshama as we prepare for Shabbos. It's a very special Shabbos. It's a very unique Shabbos. It's the Shabbos before the new month. The next month on the Jewish calendar is the month of Tishrei. But as you all know, it's not just the beginning of a new month next week, this coming week. It's also the beginning of a new year. And in fact, it has an implication on the traditions of this week, because typically the Shabbos before a new month is called Shabbat Mevarchim. We bless the coming month, but this month we don't. The Shabbat before the month of Tishrei, we do not bless the new month. You know why? Because God blesses the new month. This is the time that God brings in all the energy into the world to prepare for the special Rosh Hashanah, which is a new year. And once God brings in that special energy, then we pray that that energy that is present in the world should actually flow into our lives in a very positive way. We'll talk more about that a little later. But as you know, we always introduce our session and spice our session with the beautiful music and the wonderful sounds of our dear local boy, although now he's in New York, but the heart. You can take someone out of Bucks County, Newtown. You can't take Newtown, Bucks County out of Matal. So Matal's going to give us a song that is connected with the time of the year as we preparing for Rosh Hashanah, Avinu Malkeinu, in which we look to God as our King and as our Father in that very special relationship that we have and the great blessings that it will bring. So Matal, are you ready?
Yes, Rabbi.
All right, Matal, let's go for the Avinu Malkeinu. Let me shift it here so everybody can see you better. There we go. And share with us Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu Avinu Malkeinu Chaneinu Vaneinu Avinu Malkeinu Chaneinu Vaneinu Yein Banu Mahasim Aseh Imanu Tzedaka v'chesed Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu.
That was beautiful, Matal. Thank you very much. You know, the Avinu Malkeinu is one of the most moving songs and probably the most popular songs of the Rosh Hashanah High Holiday liturgy. And that is because it really reflects the true theme of the high holidays. We are going to be standing before the King of Kings in just a week to pray for a good new year. But we always have to remember that the King is also our Father. And together with the trepidation that we approach the high holidays, that it's a day of judgment for the whole year, we know that Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed, God will in fact do kindness and be charitable and generous in the blessings that he's going to give us. So thank you, Matal, for that beautiful song. Going to hear more from Matal coming up. But let's now talk about this week's portion. You know, let me share a very cute story. Hundreds of years ago in Poland, the Jews were dealing with a problem. There were the Cossacks. And the Cossacks would come and destroy Jewish towns and torture Jews and harass Jews. And it wasn't really a comfortable situation for the Jewish people. There was this couple. We'll call the woman's name Shulamit, and the husband's name is Mordechai. And Shulamit and Mordechai were pretty happy people. Things were going well. They had a farm. They had chickens. They had goats. They had cows. And fairly successful for a shtetl. Mordechai comes home from synagogue, from services. He says, you know, Shulamit, I heard this great sermon from the rabbi. Okay, she was used to that. Shulamit tells Mordechai, so Mordechai, what did you hear? I heard the rabbi talking about the Cossacks and how terrible they are and how much pain and suffering we have from them in our shtetl. But if we pray hard, and things will get easier, and the Mashiach will come. And before the light of the Mashiach of the redemption, sometimes it gets dark. She says, don't worry, just hang in there, have faith. And when Shulamit says, Mordechai, and what will happen when Mashiach will come? She said, when Mashiach will come, we will all go up to Israel. We'll all be gathered into the Holy Land of Israel. And what's going to be then? He says, then we get rid of the Cossacks. Then we don't have to worry about the Cossacks anymore. Shulamit says, you know, why don't we do it the other way around? We have a beautiful farm. We have chickens. We have goats. We have cows. Things are good here. So let God leave us here and send the Cossacks to Jerusalem. Why do we need to go? And Shulamit taught us a very, very important lesson in life. That many times we have the opportunity to grow. Many times we have the opportunity to get better, to advance in our life. But sometimes we are just too comfortable where we are. Sometimes, although we know we could be better, but you know what? It's good where we are. Why do you have to motivate us to move better if it's good? But the problem with that is that things may be good and you may be comfortable, but are you really achieving what you can truly achieve? Make that extra effort, get out of your comfort zone, and you'll even feel better. You know, they say life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. So I think we're all in this kind of predicament at this point. Number one, it's a new year. Shana Tova. Next Friday night, we're going to be getting ready to usher in a new year. And a new year is the opportunity to move forward. It's not just another day. It's a completely new part of our life, a new opportunity. In fact, the Hebrew word for year is shana, lishana tova. Lishana tova does not only mean have a good year, which it means literally, but shana also comes from the word shinui. Shinui, which is change. If next year we're the same as this year, then nothing has really happened. So we're being motivated to move. And boy, do we want to move. Well, I think we all agree that we want to move away from this past year, get it behind us, and move forward. But you know what? As much as we need to move, there's a very important principle. And that's why the portion of the Torah we read this week is a very interesting combination of portions. It's two portions. One is called Nitzavim, and one is called Vayelech. One is for the first verse of the first portion, which Atem Nitzavim, you're standing firmly. It's a firm stand. You're just not standing, a little wibbly wobbly. It's a firm stand, like in concrete, like the poles, the street poles. And God tells to the Jewish people, you're all standing in front of me that way today. And then Vayelech, actually Moshe says. And then Vayelech, the next portion is Vayelech. And they went, and he went, and you moved on. It's a alicha of movement. So two different ideas, but when they come together, kind of strange. Are we talking about having a firm stand, or are we talking about moving forward? Are we talking about being stubborn where you are, or being flexible? You can't be both. You can't be moving and standing at the same time. It's impossible. Remember the first time you're driving by a big truck and you thought you were going north that way, and all of a sudden it felt like you're going backwards, that strange feeling, but that's just an illusion. You can't go in two directions at the same time. In fact, you can't even stop and go at the same time. I'll give you a good example of that. Anybody ever got a traffic ticket for not stopping at the stop sign? You stop at the stop sign and you go over, and all of a sudden the cop comes. Say, I stopped. Said the cop says, you didn't stop. He said, you slow down. Slow down is not stopping. So what do you mean? But it's stopping is stopping. So there's this old story of the fellow who actually, that happened. He slowed down at the stop sign, didn't see anything, goes forward. The lights go off. The cop takes him out and asks him, what happened? I said, I stopped. He said, you didn't stop. You slowed down. He said, slow down, stop. What's the difference? And the cop says, I'll show you the difference. This is, I don't know if this would happen today. He takes his stick and starts hitting him. And the guy says, what are you hitting me? Stop hitting me. The cop says, you want me to stop hitting you or to slow down hitting you? So you can't stop and slow down. Either you stop or you're moving. So are we nitzavim? Are we standing? Or vayelech? Or are we moving? And that's a very important message on this week's Parsha, as we stand at this time before a new year, where we all want to move on. We all want to be Vayelech. We all want to go forward. Do we? As we go forward, as Vayelech, we must remember Nitzavim. Of course, we want to get rid of the past year. There's a saying in Hebrew, let the past year and all the bad things leave behind us, and let the new year with the blessings come. Absolutely. But my dear friends, amongst all the challenges, and we spoke so much about this, among all the hardships over the last 6 months in our lives, there were blessings. There were good things. And the more I speak to people, and the more I think about my own life, there's certain things that I would have never thought about. There's certain things I would have never done had this situation in our world happened. There are good things that happened over the last 6 months. So of course we want to get rid of the negative. Of course we're going to pray hard that this year we all recover and there's healing and there are vaccines and we can get back to normal. But don't forget the things you learn. Don't forget the strong ideas, the family ties that may have happened, ties of friendship that you may have had, a different purpose, a different sense of meaning in life, a different sense of direction of what's really important. There are certain very valuable lessons that we have that we must hold on to and we must remain strongly committed to. And therefore, Vayelech, a person must always move on. As Shulamit told us, you shouldn't move on. But that was the problem. We must always move on to something better, but we must always remember what we have and keep the foundation strong. Because if we just move away from things, we're not moving forward. If we move away from things, then we're just transplanting ourselves into a different place. But if you're moving forward together with what you have learned, then that's movement and that's growth. So I want to inspire you from our Parsha with the inspiration that I'm taking from this week's Parsha, that we must think strongly about the full experience of the past 6 months. What were the strong things, the principles of life that have changed or have not changed but have exposed themselves? Because we were not so involved in going to work, did we find more value in our relationships? The relationships that were there, but maybe that were ignored. What principles of basic foundations of our life became stronger and more exposed? Hang on to that. That will become the foundation for the Shinui, for the Shana Chadasha, for the new movement that we're inspired to take. We all have those strong points. Sometimes they are very deep inside, buried inside of us. We need something to push us out of our comfort zone so we can crack a certain shell so those things can come forward. Grab onto them. This is so precious. This is a blessing of the past year that becomes the foundation of the blessing of the coming year. So I want to share a story to illustrate this. This was in the 60s. There was a rabbi, his name is Rabbi Chaiken, and he was a rabbi in Denmark at that time, and in Copenhagen, which was the larger Jewish population. And then he gets a message from the Rebbe that he should not only focus on the city of Copenhagen, but he should also reach out to the local communities, to the far-flung communities where there aren't any Jewish communities, just Jews. One Jew here, a couple Jews there. So he made it part of his weekly routine to reach out to Jews in different communities. One of those communities was Holden. It's in Norway, a very small town. It's around the lake called Holden. And he arrived there very late in the day. It was still daylight, but he arrived there very late in the day. And he knew there's a Jewish family there. And because this is on the way, although it's late, if he doesn't stop in, he's going to miss the opportunity because the next day already had to travel to a different town. So although he was late, he went to their home, he knocks on the door, and the couple's shocked to see him. And they sit down, and he's talking to them about Judaism and Jewish ideas, and he sees that the husband is in a very withdrawn state, let's say. He was very detached. Something was going on in this husband's mind. He didn't know what. And when the wife went out to the kitchen to get something from food, the husband starts telling Rabbi Chaiken this story. And he says that they've been living here in Holden for 20 years since the war. Not once have they seen another Jew. Not once have they been involved in a Jewish community. In fact, they're so assimilated that the only difference between them and their non-Jewish neighbors in this town of Holden is that they don't go to church on Sunday because it's not a Jewish thing to do. But other than that, they're totally assimilated and they haven't been in touch with a Jew at all. Recently, he says, his wife says to him, you know what? There's a new pastor in town, new priest that came into town. He's a really nice guy. And actually, that guy would visit them. And he said, listen, we're here for 20 years. No Jew ever visited us. A rabbi certainly didn't visit us. So why don't you just let's go to the church. And he's a charismatic guy. He's a sweet guy, and he's an inspiring guy. Let's just be inspired. And the husband just couldn't get himself to do that. He's a Jewish guy, you go visit, but to join a church, he just felt very uncomfortable to become a member of a church. But he couldn't argue. Listen, we need inspiration, and the Jews aren't helping us. There aren't any Jews. And they have decided that the following Sunday, they would just start going to the church. And the husband was so heartbroken because he just didn't feel it would feed his Jewish soul. And he didn't know what to do. And he says, and here you show up. And you're able to bring out the Jewishness, because he noticed his wife was very warmed to the Jewish teaching. Rabbi Chaikin says, don't worry. He put on tefillin with this man, and he created a pathway for their Jewish education until they eventually transferred to a larger Jewish community and lived a proper Jewish life. My friends, that's nitzavim. That's what we mean when we talk about a core principle that's deep inside of you, that becomes the true foundation of growth. But sometimes those principles are buried beneath, either as a result of circumstance or bad experiences or whatever it may be. I believe the last 6 months, so many layers have been peeled. We have hit raw nerves within us, and we have all come in tune with what are the nitzavim ideas, what are the core principles for which we stand. Let that become the blessing of the past year, and let that become the foundation of our coming years, to build on the new relationships, to build on these new ideas, so that we begin to develop. And the more we expand on the light and the beauty of the small things that we came across over the last 6 months, the more light will outshine the darkness. And hopefully this darkness within your lives, our lives, the community lives, where we will really find the greatest light in this world, the light of our redemption, the light of our return to our homeland with the building of the Beis HaMikdash, with the coming of Mashiach, that we'll appreciate the idea that we shouldn't just be comfortable and satisfied with our comfort zone, but we should look to grow and grow to the greatest spiritual height that we can. I want to wish you all a wonderful Shabbos, a great Shabbos, a Shabbos that will usher in the week that brings us to Rosh Hashanah. And while we are here, before we continue with the songs, I want to remind everyone that we at Lubavitch Bucks County have services for any level person. I don't mean level of Judaism, that you all know. But if you are comfortable with an in-person service, we have that incorporating all COVID and social distancing and precautions. We have, if you're not comfortable indoors, so that service is in Newtown. If you're not comfortable indoors, we have an outdoor service in Yardley that you can participate under a tent, in an open tent. And if that is also not comfortable for you, we will be able to provide you with the outline to be able to do a service in your own home for yourself. So bottom line is, it's going to be a different Rosh Hashanah, whether you're indoors, outdoors, or at home. But make it meaningful. Reach out to me, and I'll help you with the plan that can make it most meaningful for you. Because in addition to those services, we also have shofar in the park that you can come both in Newtown and Yardley and Doylestown to be able to hear the shofar, which is the most important mitzvah. So if you're not able to go to shul, if you're not comfortable yet, being around the people indoors or in the tent, come to the park and make sure you hear the shofar. There'll be people going to be standing very far from each other, but it's a very important mitzvah, a foundational mitzvah, which is on Sunday, not on Shabbat. But the week from this Sunday, I would tell you, check our website, which you can, jewishcenter.info. But the response is just unbelievable. We're constantly changing our plans because we never imagined that so many people were actually going to be coming out to services. So call me, message me, send me an email, tell me what you're comfortable with. I'm going to make sure that that will not only be comfortable, but meaningful and inspiring as well. Next week, we will not have the sermon on Friday. I'm going to have a special pre-Rosh Hashanah sermon and program Thursday evening. So therefore, we can all share our ideas, even if we won't be seeing each other in person, but we'll be connected spiritually through the thoughts and the inspiration that the Torah and our tradition gives us. My dear friends, have a good Shabbos, a wonderful year. We're going to invite our good buddy, Matel, who's going to be singing a few songs now. It is Shabbos, although we talk about the new year. He'll give us a good Shabbos song. Matel, what did you decide? Which one are you doing?
We'll do Shalom Aleichem.
We'll do the Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem welcomes all the special energy of Shabbos, the Shabbos angels. And after Shalom Aleichem, we'll have a beautiful rendition of Matel's version of Lashana Tova. So Matel, go ahead.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, 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 Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, 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 Tzeitchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Matel, that was great. I would want to keep on going, but I know everybody has a schedule. That's a great, wonderful way to usher in Shabbat. You know, Matel, let's just do L'chuneranan as well.
Okay, why not? L'chuneranan, 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 L'Adoshem, L'chuneranan, 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 L'Adoshem. Naria, L'tzor Yishenu, Yekadem Abitodah. Naria, L'tzor Yishenu, Yekadem Abitodah. L'chuneranan, Neranina, L'chuneranan, L'Adoshem. L'chuneranan, 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 L'Adoshem. L'chuneranan, 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 L'Adoshem. L'chuneranan, 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 L'Adoshem. Naria, Tzor Yishenu, Yekadem Abitodah. Naria, Tzor Yishenu, Yekadem Abitodah. L'chuneranan, Neranina, L'chuneranan, L'Adoshem. L'chuneranan, 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 L'Adoshem.
Sher Koach. Thank you very much, Matel. Those were really a good spirited song, the spirited energy. I love this song. Why L'chuneranan? Let's go sing to God. Singing to Hashem. You know, singing to Hashem is not such a simple thing. But that's, in other words, it's called Jewish done joyfully, right? We're getting ready for Shabbos, getting ready for New Year, but we do it with joy, because joy itself is a source of great blessing. So I want to wish you all a Lashana Tova, and listen to Matel's rendition of Lashana Tova, and then we will conclude the program.
Lashana Tova Tikatevu, Lashana Tova Tikatevu, Lashana Tova Tikatevu, Tikatevu, Yai dai dai yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai ya da 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 dai. I dai 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 da dai. I ya da 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 dai. Ya.
Beautiful, Matal. With that, I want to thank you, Matal. And with that, I want to wish everyone a Lashana Tova Tikatevi. You should all be written and inscribed for a wonderful, sweet new year. We'll talk more about that this Thursday evening, please God. But for now, let's have a great Shabbos, a blessed Shabbos, an inspiring Shabbos, and Shabbos where we hold on to the good and get ready to move forward to a wonderful and sweet and wonderful good new year. Remember, if you need anything, you want to know which service works best for you, please don't hesitate to call me. All this is all about being able to help you. Have a good Shabbos and Shana Tova.